Never Split the Difference. Never Split the Difference is a book that draws upon the experience and expertise of its author, Chris Voss, who spent many years working as a hostage negotiator for the FBI. In the book, Voss shares the negotiation strategies and techniques he learned throughout his career, and how they can be applied to a variety of situations, including business deals, salary negotiations, and even personal interactions. The book is divided into different chapters, each one focusing on a specific aspect of negotiation. Voss provides practical tips and advice on how to build rapport, ask effective questions, and identify and address the underlying needs and emotions of the other party. He also emphasizes the importance of active listening and empathy, which are key skills for any successful negotiator. Chapter 1: The New Rules. In this chapter, Chris Voss introduces the concept of the new rules of negotiation. These rules are based on the author's experiences as a former FBI hostage negotiator and are designed to help individuals become more effective negotiators in both personal and professional contexts. The first rule is to understand that negotiations are emotional. The author argues that emotions play a crucial role in all negotiations, and successful negotiators must be able to identify and manage their own emotions, as well as the emotions of the other party. Voss emphasizes the importance of using empathy to understand the other person's perspective and emotions, and suggests that negotiators should use active listening and open-ended questions to gain insight into the other party's motivations and concerns. The second rule is to use tactical empathy. Tactical empathy involves using empathy as a strategic tool to build rapport and trust with the other party. Voss suggests that tactical empathy can help negotiators to identify common ground, build rapport, and create a sense of collaboration, which can ultimately lead to better outcomes for both parties. The third rule is to embrace no. Voss argues that no is not the end of a negotiation, but rather an opportunity to explore the other party's concerns and interests more deeply. Successful negotiators should not be afraid of no, but rather should view it as an opportunity to gather more information and work towards a mutually beneficial solution. The fourth rule is to be aware of the power of language. Voss argues that the language used in negotiations can have a significant impact on the outcome, and successful negotiators should be mindful of the words they choose to use. The author suggests using language that creates a sense of collaboration and avoids triggering negative emotions. The fifth and final rule is to create the illusion of control. Voss argues that people feel more comfortable and secure when they feel that they have control over a situation, and successful negotiators should use this to their advantage. Chapter 2: Be a Mirror. Discusses the importance of mirroring in effective communication and negotiation. Being a mirror means reflecting the other person's words and emotions back to them in a way that shows you understand and empathize with their perspective. This technique helps to build rapport and trust, as well as uncover important information. To effectively mirror, you should use the following steps. 1. Repeat the last few words the other person said in the form of a question or statement. 2. Use a calm, slow tone of voice. 3. Match the other person's energy level and body language. 4. Avoid adding your own opinions or thoughts. For example, if someone says, "I'm really frustrated with this situation," you could mirror by saying, "You're frustrated with the situation?" This shows that you are listening and acknowledging their emotions. Mirroring can also be used to gather more information. By repeating the last few words of a statement, you encourage the other person to keep talking and potentially reveal more details or thoughts. Chapter 3: Don't feel their pain, label it. The idea behind labeling is to give a name to the emotions that the other person is experiencing. By doing so, you acknowledge their feelings and show empathy without necessarily agreeing with their position. This can help to de-escalate a tense situation and move towards a more productive conversation. To effectively label, you should use the following steps. 1. Identify the emotion the other person is expressing or experiencing. 2. Give it a name, using simple and non-judgmental language. 3. Use a tone of voice that is neutral or slightly lower than the other person's. For example, if someone is expressing frustration about a delay in a project, you could label by saying, "It seems like you're feeling frustrated that the project is delayed." This acknowledges their emotion and shows that you are listening. Labeling can also be used to redirect negative emotions. By labeling the emotion, you help the other person feel heard and understood, which can reduce the intensity of their feelings and create an opening for a more productive conversation. Chapter 4: Beware Yes, Master No. The idea behind getting a no is to encourage the other person to be honest and transparent about their position. When people say yes too quickly or too often, they may not be fully committed or may be hiding something. On the other hand, when someone says no, it can reveal their true priorities and concerns, which can be useful information in negotiation. To effectively get a no, you should use the following steps. 1. Ask open-ended questions that encourage the other person to share their perspective. 2. Use calibrated questions that start with what or how and cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. 3. Use no-oriented questions that give the other person permission to say no and encourage them to share their concerns or priorities. For example, instead of asking, "Would you be willing to lower your price?" you could ask, "What would it take for you to lower your price?" This calibrated question requires a more detailed response and can reveal more information. Another example of a no-oriented question is it impossible for you to consider a different approach? This question gives the other person permission to say no and encourages them to explain their concerns or limitations. Chapter 5: Trigger the 2 words that immediately transform any negotiation. The idea behind using this phrase is to create empathy and understanding between the parties by acknowledging the other person's perspective while also highlighting any challenges or limitations that you may be facing. To effectively use this phrase, you should follow these steps. 1. Use a calm, non-confrontational tone of voice. 2. Repeat the other person's request or demand. 3. Ask, "How am I supposed to do that?" Or a similar question that highlights any challenges or limitations you may be facing. For example, if someone is demanding a lower price for a product, you could say, "I understand you want a lower price, but our costs are already very high. How am I supposed to lower the price without hurting our profits?" By using this phrase, you are acknowledging the other person's perspective and showing that you understand their needs or concerns. At the same time, you are highlighting any challenges or limitations that you may be facing, which can help to create a more realistic and productive conversation. Chapter 6: Bend their reality. The idea behind bending reality is to change the other person's perception of a situation by reframing it in a way that benefits your position. This can be especially useful when the other person is stuck in a rigid position and not willing to budge. To effectively bend reality, you should use the following steps. 1. Acknowledge the other person's position and show empathy for their concerns. 2. Reframe the situation in a way that benefits your position. 3. Use language that encourages the other person to see things from a new perspective. For example, if someone is demanding a high price for a product, you could say, "I understand that you value the product and want to get the best price for it. At the same time, we have a limited budget and need to make sure we are getting a fair deal. How can we find a win-win solution that benefits both of us?" By reframing the situation in a way that emphasizes a win-win solution, you are encouraging the other person to see things from a new perspective and find a solution that benefits both parties. Chapter 7: Create the illusion of control. The idea behind creating the illusion of control is to give the other person a sense of autonomy and agency, even when you are guiding the conversation towards a desired outcome. To effectively create the illusion of control, you should use the following steps. 1. Ask calibrated questions that give the other person a sense of control and involvement in the conversation. 2. Use the rule of 3 by giving the other person 3 options to choose from, even if they are all acceptable to you. 3. Use forced empathy by acknowledging the other person's perspective and showing that you understand their needs or concerns. For example, if you are negotiating a contract, you could use the following tactics. 1. Ask calibrated questions such as, "What are your thoughts on this proposal?" Or, "How do you see this working in practice?" 2. Use the rule of 3 by saying, "We can either agree to this proposal, make some modifications, or explore other options. Which one do you prefer?" 3. Use forced empathy by saying, "I can see that this is an important issue for you. Can you help me understand why this is so important?" By using these tactics, you are giving the other person a sense of control and involvement in the conversation, even though you are guiding the conversation towards a desired outcome. Chapter 8. Guarantee execution. The idea behind creating the illusion of control is to give the other person a sense of autonomy and choice, even if you are ultimately guiding the conversation towards a certain outcome. By doing so, you can build trust and increase the likelihood of a successful negotiation. To effectively create the illusion of control, you should use the following steps. 1. Give the other person choices or options, even if they are limited. 2. Use calibrated questions to guide the conversation towards your desired outcome. 3. Use forced choice questions that give the other person a sense of control while still guiding them towards your desired outcome. For example, instead of saying, "You need to agree to our price," you could say, "We have a few pricing options. Which one do you think would work best for you?" This gives the other person a sense of control and choice, even though all the options ultimately benefit you. Another example of a forced choice question is, "Would you like to pay in full now or set up a payment plan?" This gives the other person a sense of control and autonomy while still guiding them towards a specific outcome. Chapter 9. Bargain hard. The idea behind bargaining hard is to negotiate for the best possible outcome for yourself or your organization, while also creating value for the other party. Bargaining hard does not mean being aggressive or confrontational, but rather being assertive and persistent in pursuing your goals. To effectively bargain hard, you should use the following strategies. 1. Know your bottom line and be prepared to walk away if necessary. 2. Start with an ambitious opening offer that sets a high anchor for the negotiation. 3. Use the flinch technique to show surprise or disappointment at the other party's offers or counteroffers. 4. Use the split the difference technique to find a compromise that creates value for both parties. 5. Use non-monetary terms such as delivery times or payment schedules to create value and bridge gaps in monetary offers. For example, if you are negotiating the sale of a product, you could start with an ambitious opening offer that is higher than what you actually expect to receive. This sets a high anchor for the negotiation and creates a sense of value for the other party. If the other party counters with a lower offer, you can use the flinch technique by showing surprise or disappointment. This signals to the other party that you are not willing to accept a low offer and sets the stage for further negotiation. Chapter 10. Find the Black Swan. The importance of identifying and understanding the black swan, a term coined by philosopher Nassim Nicholas Taleb to describe rare, unpredictable events that have a significant impact. Voss explains that in negotiations, a black swan can be an unexpected piece of information or a sudden shift in the other party's priorities or perspective that can completely change the dynamic of the negotiation. It's crucial to be on the lookout for black swans, and to be prepared to adapt to them quickly. To find the black swan, Voss recommends actively listening to the other party and paying attention to any subtle cues or signals they may be sending. He also suggests asking open-ended questions and encouraging the other party to share more about their situation and goals. Additionally, Voss advises maintaining a flexible mindset and being willing to pivot your approach if a black swan does occur. This may involve reframing your goals or finding creative solutions that accommodate the new information or circumstances. Overall, the key to finding the black swan in a negotiation is to stay alert, curious, and adaptable. By being proactive and strategic in your approach, you can increase your chances of success and minimize the impact of unexpected events. Chapter 11. The bookends of a negotiation. This chapter discusses the importance of the bookends of a negotiation, the opening offer, and the final agreement. Voss explains that the opening offer sets the tone for the negotiation and can have a significant impact on the final outcome. It's important to make a strong, but realistic opening offer that anchors the negotiation in your favor. However, it's also important to leave room for flexibility and to avoid making an offer that's so extreme that it shuts down the negotiation before it even begins. Similarly, the final agreement is crucial because it's the point at which both parties make a commitment to the terms of the deal. Voss advises negotiating the final agreement in small increments rather than trying to reach a final agreement all at once. This allows both parties to feel like they're making progress and can help build momentum toward a successful outcome. Voss also emphasizes the importance of framing the final agreement in a positive light and creating a sense of momentum and excitement around the deal. By focusing on the benefits of the agreement and the value it provides to both parties, you can increase the likelihood of a successful outcome. Overall, the bookends of a negotiation are critical moments that can shape the entire negotiation process. By approaching them strategically and with a focus on building momentum and finding common ground, you can increase your chances of success and achieve a mutually beneficial outcome. Chapter 12. Identify the other guy's playbook. The author emphasizes the importance of identifying the other person's playbook, which refers to the set of tactics and strategies they use to negotiate. By understanding their playbook, you can anticipate their moves and respond effectively. To identify the other guy's playbook, Voss suggests several tactics. 1. Listen carefully to what they say and how they say it. Pay attention to their tone of voice, choice of words, and nonverbal cues to gain insight into their mindset and negotiating style. 2. Look for patterns in their behavior. Observe how they react to different situations and what tactics they use repeatedly. 3. Research their background and past negotiating experiences. If possible, find out what has worked for them in the past and what hasn't. 4. Ask open-ended questions to gather information about their goals and priorities. This will help you understand their motivations and what they value most. 5. Test their assumptions and challenge their beliefs. By doing so, you can gain insight into their thinking and uncover any weaknesses in their arguments. Overall, the key is to be observant and curious, and to use the information you gather to create a strategy that will help you achieve your goals in the negotiation. Chapter 13. One text is worth 1,000 words. The author emphasizes the importance of using text messages as a negotiating tool. Voss argues that text messages can be an effective way to communicate in negotiations, as they allow you to carefully craft your message and to avoid misunderstandings that can arise in face-to-face conversations. To effectively use text messages in negotiations, Voss suggests several tactics. 1. Use short, simple messages. Keep your messages brief and to the point, and avoid using complex language or technical jargon. 2. Use questions to guide the conversation. Asking open-ended questions can help you gather information and keep the conversation moving forward. 3. Use emojis to convey emotion. Emojis can help you convey tone and emotion in your messages, and can help to build rapport with the other party. 4. Use strategic silences. Pausing before responding can help to create tension and encourage the other party to respond. 5. Use conditional language. Using phrases like if, then, can help to set expectations and create a sense of urgency. 6. Use the power of no. By saying no to certain requests, you can demonstrate that you are willing to walk away from the negotiation if necessary. Overall, Voss argues that text messages can be an effective way to negotiate, as they allow you to carefully craft your message and to avoid misunderstandings that can arise in face-to-face conversations. However, it is important to remember that text messages should not be your sole form of communication, and that face-to-face conversations are still an important part of any negotiation. Chapter 14. Don't offer to split the difference. The author discusses the importance of avoiding the temptation to split the difference in a negotiation. Voss argues that splitting the difference is a weak negotiating tactic that can lead to a suboptimal outcome for both parties. Instead of splitting the difference, Voss suggests the following tactics. 1. Focus on interests, not positions. Rather than getting stuck on specific demands or offers, focus on understanding the other party's interests and finding creative solutions that meet both parties' needs. 2. Use the Ackerman model to make offers. The Ackerman model is a structured way to make offers that starts with a high anchor point and then makes incremental concessions. This can help to create a sense of momentum in the negotiation and can lead to a better outcome. 3. Use the "that's not the only thing" technique. When the other party makes an offer or a demand, respond by saying "that's not the only thing" and then introduce a new issue or demand. This can help to keep the negotiation moving forward and can help to create more value for both parties. 4. Use mirroring to build rapport. Mirroring is a technique where you repeat the other party's words or phrases back to them. This can help to build rapport and create a sense of trust between the parties. Overall, Voss argues that splitting the difference is a weak negotiating tactic that can lead to a suboptimal outcome. Instead, negotiators should focus on understanding the other party's interests, making structured offers using the Ackerman model, and using techniques like the "that's not the only thing" technique and mirroring to create more value for both parties. Bargain like a pirate. Part 2. What-if questions. Chris Voss, the author, discusses the power of what-if questions in negotiations. What-if questions are hypothetical questions that can help to explore different scenarios and possibilities in a negotiation. Voss suggests several tactics for using what-if questions in negotiations. 1. Use them to explore the other party's interests. By asking what-if questions that explore different scenarios, you can gain insight into the other party's interests, and priorities. 2. Use them to create more value. What-if questions can help to generate creative solutions that create more value for both parties. 3. Use them to build momentum. By exploring different scenarios, what-if questions can help to build momentum in the negotiation and keep the conversation moving forward. 4. Use them to test assumptions. By asking what-if questions, you can test assumptions and uncover any weaknesses in the other party's argument. 5. Use them to explore the consequences of different outcomes. By asking what-if questions that explore the consequences of different outcomes, you can help the other party to see the benefits of a particular solution. Overall, Voss argues that what-if questions can be a powerful tool in negotiations, as they can help to explore different scenarios, generate creative solutions, and build momentum in the conversation. By using what-if questions effectively, negotiators can gain insight into the other party's interests, test assumptions, and create more value for both parties. Chapter 16. The Accusation Audit. The accusation audit is a technique that involves acknowledging and addressing potential concerns or accusations that the other party may have in a negotiation. The accusation audit involves the following steps. 1. Identify potential concerns or accusations that the other party may have. This could include concerns about the product or service being offered, concerns about the price, or concerns about the reliability of the other party. 2. Acknowledge and validate the other party's concerns. This involves demonstrating empathy and understanding for the other party's concerns and acknowledging the legitimacy of their perspective. 3. Reframe the concern as a question. This involves reframing the concern or accusation as a question that can be addressed. For example, if the other party is concerned about the reliability of the product being offered, you could reframe this as a question by saying, "Are you concerned about the reliability of our product?" 4. Respond to the question. This involves providing a response to the question that addresses the other party's concerns and demonstrates the value of the product or service being offered. By using the accusation audit, negotiators can address potential concerns or accusations before they become major obstacles in the negotiation. This technique can help to build trust and credibility with the other party, and can help to create a more collaborative negotiating environment. Chapter 17. Negotiate the non-negotiable. This refers to situations where the other party has a fixed position or demand that they consider non-negotiable. Voss suggests several tactics for negotiating the non-negotiable. 1. Use the "what would it take" question. This involves asking the other party, "What would it take for you to consider, insert demand or position here, negotiable?" This question can help to uncover the underlying interests and priorities behind the non-negotiable demand. 2. Use calibrated questions. Calibrated questions are open-ended questions that start with what or how and are designed to gather information. By using calibrated questions, negotiators can gain insight into the other party's interests and priorities and uncover potential areas for compromise. 3. Use labeling to diffuse negative emotions. Labeling is a technique where you acknowledge the other party's emotions and give them a label. This can help to diffuse negative emotions and create a more constructive negotiating environment. 4. Use a persuasion approach. This involves setting the stage for the negotiation by using framing or other techniques to create a more receptive mindset in the other party. This can help to make them more open to considering alternative solutions. By using these tactics, negotiators can often find ways to negotiate the non-negotiable and reach a more mutually beneficial outcome. The key is to understand the other party's interests and priorities, diffuse negative emotions, and create a more constructive negotiating environment. Overall, negotiating the non-negotiable is a challenging but important skill in negotiation. By using the right tactics and keeping an open mind, negotiators can often find ways to reach a mutually beneficial outcome even when faced with seemingly non-negotiable demands. Chapter 18: Calibrated Questions. Calibrated questions are open-ended questions that are designed to gather information and elicit a specific response from the other party. Voss suggests several types of calibrated questions that can be effective in negotiation. 1. What questions? These are open-ended questions that start with what and are designed to elicit information about the other party's interests, priorities, and goals. For example, what are your top priorities in this negotiation? 2. How questions? These are open-ended questions that start with how and are designed to elicit information about the other party's process or approach. For example, how did you arrive at that conclusion? 3. Why questions? These are open-ended questions that start with why and are designed to elicit information about the other party's underlying interests and motivations. For example, why is this issue so important to you? For what-if questions, these are hypothetical questions that start with what if and are designed to explore potential outcomes and solutions. For example, what if we were able to find a solution that met both of our needs? By using calibrated questions, negotiators can gather valuable information about the other party's interests. Chapter 19 of Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss is titled Create the Illusion of Control. In this chapter, Voss emphasizes the importance of creating a sense of control for the other party during a negotiation, while still maintaining control of the situation yourself. Voss argues that people are more likely to cooperate and agree to a deal when they feel like they are in control of the situation. Therefore, it is important to give the other party a sense of control without actually giving up any control yourself. One way to create the illusion of control is to use the Ackerman model for making offers. The Ackerman model involves making a series of offers that gradually increase in value, with each offer having a specific rationale behind it. By doing this, you give the other party a sense of control over the negotiation, as they are able to accept or reject each offer and feel like they are making progress towards a deal. Another way to create the illusion of control is to use labeling and mirroring techniques. Labeling involves acknowledging the other party's emotions or concerns and putting a name to them, which can help them feel heard and understood. Mirroring involves repeating back the other party's words or phrases, which can also help them feel heard and understood, and can create a sense of rapport and trust. Voss also emphasizes the importance of being aware of your own body language and tone of voice, as contribute to the sense of control in a negotiation. By appearing calm, confident, and in control, you can help the other party feel more comfortable and willing to negotiate. Chapter 20: Bend Their Reality. In this chapter, Voss emphasizes the importance of understanding the other person's perspective and finding ways to make them see things differently. Voss argues that people are often resistant to change because they are comfortable with their current reality. Therefore, to persuade someone to see things differently, you need to make them feel uncomfortable with their current reality and create a sense of urgency for change. To do this, Voss suggests using calibrated questions to help the other person see the situation from a new perspective. Calibrated questions are open-ended questions that are designed to get the other person to reveal more information and to help you understand their point of view. Voss also suggests using hypothetical questions to help the other person envision a different reality. Hypothetical questions start with what if and are designed to help the other person imagine a different outcome. Another technique Voss suggests is to use the power of no. By getting the other person to say no, you can create a sense of safety and trust, which can help them become more receptive to your ideas. Overall, Voss emphasizes the importance of understanding the other person's perspective and finding ways to make them see things differently. By doing so, you can create a more productive and collaborative environment and increase the chances of reaching a successful negotiation. Chapter 21: Negotiating as if your life depended on it. This chapter focuses on how to negotiate effectively in high-stakes situations, where the outcome can have significant consequences for your life or business. Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator, emphasizes the importance of treating every negotiation as a high-stakes situation, regardless of its actual significance. He argues that by adopting this mindset, you can be more prepared, focused, and strategic in your approach to negotiating. One key strategy that Voss recommends in high-stakes negotiations is to focus on the other party's emotions and needs. He believes that understanding the other party's perspective and emotions is critical to building rapport and finding mutually beneficial solutions. Voss advises negotiators to use active listening and empathetic statements to demonstrate that they understand the other party's point of view. Another important tactic for negotiating in high-stakes situations is to remain calm and maintain control of your emotions. Voss recommends using techniques like tactical empathy, mirroring, and labeling to build trust and rapport with the other party while also keeping the negotiation on track. Overall, the key takeaway from this chapter is that effective negotiation in high-stakes situations requires a combination of preparation, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Short conclusion. In conclusion, Never Split the Difference is a valuable resource for anyone looking to improve their negotiation skills. By using the techniques and strategies outlined in the book, individuals can approach negotiations with confidence and increase their chances of achieving successful outcomes.